Hey, Jules Buzz Vegan, and as always, welcome to my channel. And for those of you who are new, I know you can benefit. People, yes, I still exist. Oh my goodness. I have just been dealing with asthma post-COVID. Okay, and more like bronchitis. Oh my gosh. So let me just explain. So early in my life, I had occasional asthmatic attacks, if you will, to things like dust when I had to do chores, or an occasional dog or cat dander if there was a new animal that I was exposed to. Um, Cut grass, that was always a big one. And even like carrying paper bags, the little fibers would make my arms break out. So just little things like that, but nothing to the point of hospitalization, not needing medication for it, nothing. Excuse me, nothing like that. So finally, when I was like 21, 22, 23, I was still wearing perfume. I love like Charlie and Tatiana and different brands of perfume. When I met my husband at 21, he was wearing Stetson cologne, which on a Texas cowboy was hot. I'll just say that right away. Sadly, over time, I had to ask that he not, which was really hard for him because he loved it. And of course, I had to stop engaging in all of that. I became a teacher. I was teaching middle school, and they love to pour on the fragrances. I have trouble with industrial cleaners as well, which was a problem at school. I was probably hospitalized 3 times. One of the times was for burnt popcorn in the microwave, because there's like little, metal pieces and stuff inside the lining that allows it to pop. Just things like that. So I begged my middle schoolers to be kind and not wear fragrances, but of course there's fragrances in everything, right? So even though they didn't have on perfume, they had on Axe deodorant, or they'd have gel in their hair, and like all these things. And so it was really a challenge. So finally I decided to move down to the lower grades. No safety net there. Are you kidding me? It turned out even parents put perfume and cologne on their first graders. I know, right? Part of it was just like cultural. They just loved their fragrances. So, oh my gosh, I ended up back in middle school and back to begging. But my last straw a couple of years ago, in addition to putting on a ton of weight, which I'm very talented at doing, and I'm just in the middle of coming off a rage this last past year where I put on a ton of weight. It may be my last time. From my mouth to God's proverbial ears. Anyway, what happened was it got to the point where I couldn't attend Mass. And people love to wear fragrances to Mass. It's Sunday morning, they're in their Sunday best, right? I mean, just approaching the church by about 20 feet, I could already smell it. And then, of course, there's lovely things like incense, which I can actually do. That's the ironic part. I can do incense. I can do, what is the stuff that they pour on the top of roofs that is so terrible? The black stuff that they put on there. Is this COVID fog? I don't know. Is it half timers because I don't have Alzheimer's yet? I don't know. I just can't think of what it's called. I want to say tar. It does smell a lot like the La Brea tar pits in downtown Los Angeles. Anyway, I can do stuff like that. I just can't do synthetic fragrances, right? Okay, so anyway, I freaked out because I just felt like it was a spirit of oppression not allowing me to sit through Mass. I couldn't even make it 10 minutes. And so I knew something had to change. So on top of everything else, I eventually learned about and became plant-based vegan. And what I found was everything set par. So fragrances in place, children's nonsense, detrimental cleaners, everything in place, no longer poisoning my own environment, meaning in my body with the standard American diet, allowed me to make it through Mass, allowed me to deal with those things. It wasn't lovely, but I didn't get hospitalized, right? So it turned out that the toxins I was putting inside my internal body were exacerbating to the max all those outside influences. And so for the last few years, I've been free. I've been largely free in almost any setting. Like, my husband's shocked. Now, no, we're not going to get stupid and add cologne back in and stuff like that. No. But he's just so surprised at what I can tolerate, because he'll be like, "Are you not smelling that right now?" And I'm like, "Yes, I am smelling it, but my body can just deal with it better." So recently I got some darling little puppies, right? And I started breaking up from the puppies. And I know that I've been off my game. Like this past year, like you can think, oh, well, but what? Haven't you been eating clean for a month? Yes, maybe I've been eating clean for a month, but that doesn't negate 11 months of toxins in my body, even if they were vegan, right? There's levels of vegan. So, we've got super clean, raw vegan, yay God. We have medium clean, plant based, whole food, no salt, no oil, no, uh, you know, sugar. And then we have junk food vegan, full of oil, full of sugar, full of salt, full of all the things that mimic the standard American diet. And guess what else is mimicking it? The diseases. And so, in playing that game, eating plant based burgers with my husband, eating fries like I'm a normie, my body started to have asthma. Okay, so that said, I was coming off of that when I got hit with COVID at Christmas time, and I got hit hard, okay, so hard. And so 10 days of COVID, and then 4 more days before it even said negative COVID. And then what I realized was my lungs were terrifically compromised. Now, I don't want to, I was only so grateful that I was about 40 or 50 days in of eating clean, because otherwise I'd really be in a situation. I can't even imagine how much worse it would have been. So what happened was I just couldn't breathe all night long, crinkling, crinkling, all morning long at school, wheezing and not wanting to use my inhaler because it gets my nervous system going so bad. And it also has its side effects. So I just kind of trudged my way through, for a few weeks of doing that. And finally, I caved on Friday. And I just had to go to the hospital and say, I can't breathe. I can't sleep because I'm hearing my lungs like a crinkled bag going in and out. I, I'm just short of breath. And of course, their thought is, well, you're fat. But no, it's not just that I'm fat. My lungs were compromised. Uh, and I say that because I run circles, even around my 25-year-old partner who's tired and can we, no. I mean, I'm a go getter, let alone driving 100 miles a day, caring for my animals, making dinner for my husband, like all the things that I can do. I knew my lungs were greatly compromised. And so, no, I didn't go and say, can you please x-ray my lungs? And I was kind of thinking, I might have walking pneumonia. I might have bronchitis. I knew that whatever it was dry in my chest, but congestion in my, nose and face, and that I just couldn't get a breath. Well, the doctor did not do a x-ray, which he certainly could have justified. He said right away that viruses sneak in right after COVID, and that I most certainly had one, and he could absolutely hear it in my lungs. I was downplaying it. I was like, well, I'm kind of weak. He's like, kind of. Well, I can't really get, yeah, totally. So just being asthmatic over the years, I have done a series of steroids, right? Like prednisone steroids, and it's usually a 5-day protocol. So you do 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. He put me on a 12-day protocol with 4, 4, 4, 3, 3, 3, 2, 2, 2, 1, 1, 1. I mean, big. And gave me an antibiotic. Now, I don't take any medication. I was on 10 medications. You can look that up on my story. I was on 10 medications, 6 years ago. I don't do any medication. I don't do pain medication. I use either a hot pad or ice or whatever. But God really did put it on my heart that my lungs were in trouble and that my lungs needed help, and that eating correctly would allow my microbiome to be restored despite any damage that, these two medications would do to me. And I'm hearing that. As vegans, we often think, oh, well, our diet could do it all. Like, we don't need anything. And that is to the detriment of some. I have heard horrific stories of people who ignored their symptoms, right? And COVID ain't playing. Okay, it ain't playing. Now, I didn't want to do, excuse me, an X-ray to see that I had, striations and the different damages that they talk about, because I feel like God's on the case and that He will absolutely restore my lungs. Like, He has great plans for me. I'm only at the halfway mark of my life, and He knows that I need lungs to serve Him. So I'm good for that. But last night, and it was just after 3 days, maybe. Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Yeah, I guess after 3 days of doing the antibiotics and the... How's that COVID doing, Jules? People, I am not giving credit for that. Because you know me anyway. If I'm overly tired, if I've expended all my brain cells with my students, it takes me a moment. I can see it, but it takes me a moment. And it's not like I have a script. You know me, I'm one and done. So no, the steroids I believe will help and are starting to help. So last night was the first time in over a month that I slept. And my husband knew it. He was just like, wow, Juliana, you actually slept. So I'm just trying to see. Today's the 25th. So a month ago was Christmas. Who can believe? Already a month. I missed it. My birthday was 2 days later. Missed it. I've already pouted about that, but I'm a professional pouter. So, so the 16th was when I tested positive. So yeah, it's been a good 35 days and I'm still struggling. So I praise God for medication when it's warranted. I am grateful I don't seem to have any other COVID things. And again, I'm just going to credit this to lack of sleep. But I know, number one, bar one, yes, I was willing to get traditional medication to give my lungs a moment so that I could sleep. And I'm grateful for that. I'm also grateful that it's only a 12-day combination. I think it's like a combo of antibiotic slash steroid, but whatever it is, it's a 12-day thing. Done, right? It's done. And then I'll rebuild it with my microbiome back on my plan, and again, move forward with no medications in my life. That is always my goal, to have no medications in my life and to just trust God's food. But many people don't have insurance, and I was grateful to get help at this time, and I really believed I needed. So I'm not ditching you guys. I'm trying to be gentle with myself while I'm healing, because to be actively ill for 35 days is a really long time, and peace be with you, because I know people have real problems. They have chronic illness and all of that, but for me, it's really scary when I have trouble breathing, and I'm grateful for these tools for Jules, right? Oh, thanks for showing up, my friends. You're a blessing to me. I love my JBB community. Like if you like, join us if you haven't. Let me know what's up with your COVID. What's up with your long COVID? Some people have a long COVID situation. That will not be mine. And just know that I pray for you guys all the time, because life is daily and it is a struggle at this time for so many. And so I'm on prayer patrol. Let me know in the comments below how I may support you. And until we talk again, overall, we're still breathing, we're still here. So therefore, we're blessed.